Hey, it's Screaming Geek Media here. I'm Jerry the Geek. Today we're going to be talking about the 4K release of the Amityville Horror. Before we do, please, if you like physical media, 4Ks, Blu-rays, DVDs, if you like home theater, movies in general, please check out my other videos on my channel and like and subscribe and turn your bell notifications on. So today we're going to talk about the 4K release of the classic Amityville Horror. That came out in 1979, starring James Brolin, Margaret Kidder, Rod Steiger, and directed by Stuart Rosenberg. So basically the movie is actually based on a true story. I'm sure, a lot of it might have been embellished here and there, because I did watch a special recently on the Learning Channel talking about all about the real story and family and everything that happened. So it's a very interesting movie. It takes place, the murders of this family inside this house, and then when about a year later the Lutz family moves in, and just they're not even, I think it's like they're 28 days before they actually decided, they just freaking left. Then enough was enough and all this shit was going on. But I can't remember when I originally first watched this. It's definitely back in the VHS days, considering I was only 8 years old, going on 9 when this came out. But I don't think I've watched this since VHS. I don't think I've never watched this on Laserdisc, DVD or anything like that. So this was a really nice to finally get to see this again. Very atmospheric movie. I'm one of those people that, you watch, a lot of us watch a lot of horror movies. It takes a lot to scare us anymore, and this one I couldn't believe there was a couple scenes that did get to me because I completely forgot about. One scene actually did scare the shit out of me. I totally forgot about it. Really, just the way the editing is done so well with the visual, and then the sound effects kick in. Very well done as far as that goes. Now this 4K release comes from Vinegar Syndrome and just came out a couple weeks ago. There's a standard edition and a one with this fancy slip cover, which we'll get to that later. I'll talk about the packaging. But yeah, it was originally filmed in 35mm like any old classic movies. And Vinegar Syndrome did a new 4K scan of the original negative. Has HDR10, no Dolby Vision though. But overall, the picture quality is spectacular. I mean, it is really good. The textures, a lot of pops of detail are there. Some of the ugly ass, the wallpapers inside the house are just so gaudy. The plaid shirts that George wears. The scenes of when Father Delaney's in the house and he's having a little episode, and you see the flies on his face. Highly detailed. The sweat. The good pops of color here and there. Solid blacks and whites that really pop. So a movie of this age, they did a wonderful job with the restoration, the picture here. And as far as the Blu-ray comparison, this does come with a Blu-ray. I don't know if they use their new scan for the Blu-ray or if this is ported over from the other Blu-ray releases, because there are several Blu-ray versions of the Amityville Horror available. So if you happen to know if this is actually, if they use the new scan for this, I don't know what Vinegar Syndrome's track record is, if they do their own user scan for the Blu-ray as well as the 4K, or if they just port it over from other releases. But in its own, the Blu-ray was really good here. The differences between the Blu-ray and the 4K in this set, mostly it's color timing. The details and textures are still on the Blu-ray, looks fairly good. But the color timing, I say this in a lot of the videos, are the big difference. The colors in a Blu-ray are kind of a little bit flat, muted, and they really have a lot more pop with the 4K and HDR. Again, I've never owned this on any Blu-ray before, so I'm not sure how it would compare. If you have this on a Blu-ray, an older release, please let me know what you thought of it. And here we'll take a look at some screenshots comparing the Blu-ray on this set and a 4K here. And we'll come back and we'll talk about the audio, packaging, and bonus features. And we'll see you in a couple of minutes. Now for the audio, Vinegar Syndrome gave us a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, which I think is what was on the past Blu-ray releases. What kind of puzzles me is, it reads the original unaltered theatrical surround mix with an optional stereo mix. What kind of confused me is, unaltered surround mix. Now this came out in 1979. It didn't have surround back then, so it kind of throws me for a loop. I mean, if DTS, the 5.1, it is altered, so, it just has the two audio tracks here. I toggled back and forth between the two. I like to do that with the older movies to see how they do. In my honest opinion, I didn't think this was the greatest. I know these older movies, sometimes they don't sound right when they're redone. And you just kind of have to take out the grain of salt, just kind of go with it. It took a little kind of while to get used to the kind of, sometimes those really old tracks sound a little bit hollow, unnatural. I think, especially the beginning, I think after a while it does get better. But the beginning, I think, really threw me off. The crime scene after the murders, it just sounded so fake. You got it's a lot of sound, things should be coming out of the center, but they just start popping around, surrounding. Those things coming around you, I didn't feel, it just shouldn't have sounded that way. Maybe it's just me, but it just didn't feel natural. Even the storm scene, the surrounds had a little bit of ambience, but not a whole lot of effects there. And then the stereo mix was actually, good in that regard, because the stereo mix gave you a false sense of surround. Other things I think fell flat for me was, especially, like I said, mainly early on. After a while, I don't know if it was the audio track, because I read some reviews on the older Blu-rays talking about how good the audio was, so I don't know if it was the same, that those reviewers were on crack, or Vinegar Syndrome screwed up the audio track. I don't know. Please let me know below what you think about it. But a couple other issues I had was the audio, the dialogue should always come from the center, especially in a surround mix. But sometimes the dialogue bled off to the side, left and right, and it really shouldn't. When they're touring the house, the realtor, one scene, you hear her voice. I could hear it from the left speaker, but yes, she comes in from the right. And I was like, oh, that's fucked up. So I don't know if the old Blu-rays were that same way, or like I said, someone screwed up somewhere. Again, it got better, and you really didn't notice any differences later on throughout the movie, where you just kind of got attuned to it. But throughout the whole movie, I actually, I continued toggling between the stereo mix and the surround, and just very little nuances. So I think it's going to be a lot of your personal preference, what you want. So again, the audio track, it was decent. I mean, I'm not saying it was bad. The dialogue and everything you can hear clearly, so they did a good job there. The scenes when the sound effects, when things would be buzzing around, all of a sudden it would go quiet on the drop of a dime. So that was very well done. It just, the mix, I just felt was kind of screwed up. So please let me know in the comments below to see what your thoughts are. If you don't have this, what your thoughts are of the audio track on the Blu-rays. If it was the same thing, or if Vinegar Syndrome screwed up here. I haven't seen any reviews yet of this, so I'm kind of curious. As far as packaging, came within two versions, with or without a slip cover. And you know me, if you watch my videos, I don't like slip covers. But this one being a limited edition, I thought, I paid a few extra bucks. I got the slip cover. But I'll probably put it in storage and not keep it with the movie. That is actually pretty cool. It's got certain things embossed on it. You can say the get out in a certain way. Some of you can read it and you not read it. So I will be hanging on to this. And standard case. Different artwork on both the discs, Blu-ray and 4K. And the cover does have reversible artwork, which is pretty cool, but there's no wording or anything on it. But so for the bonus features on this, we got quite a bit here. Actually, the 4K does have a commentary track by Dr. Hans Holzer, PhD, in parapsychology, which my wife and I have watched some of the Holzer files, which they actually break open some of the old cases from Hans. Now on the Blu-ray, we got My Amityville Diaries, a brand new making of documentary featuring interviews with the cast and crew. For God's Sakes, Get Out, an archival making of documentary featuring interviews with actor James Brolin and actress Margaret Kidder. Brolin Thunder, an interview with actor James Brolin from 2017. Child's Play, an interview with actor Mino Palouse from 2017. Amityville Scribe, an interview with screenwriter Sander Stern from 2017. The Devil in the Music, an interview with composer Lalo Schifrin from 2017. Haunted Melodies, an interview with composer Halo Schifrin from 2013. A video introduction by Dr. Hans Holzer, and the original theatrical trailer. So quite a bit there for the bonus features. I haven't looked through any of them yet, so I'll probably definitely be checking out some of that. So overall, a great release for Vinegar Syndrome. If you like the old classic, if you haven't seen it, definitely recommend picking it up. It's a great classic movie. I remember reading the book. I think it was the first novel I ever read. It did a wonderful job here. Like I said, the video is outstanding. The audio, like I said, I think could have been a little bit better, but it was good. Like I said, it wasn't bad. Just I think the mix was kind of screwed up here and there. You can get this straight from Vinegar Syndrome for the $32.99 for the standard, and they still got some slipcover editions available for $36.99. Where Amazon's wanting $45.99. So I recommend if you want this, order it straight from Vinegar Syndrome. This was my first movie I ever bought from them, so I definitely would like to get some more, but their prices are kind of high. Roadhouse is coming out. That's really too salty for me. So I just wait for some sales here and there, but this one I had to have. Classic all the time. I love the movie. So that pretty much does it for my look at the 4K of Amityville Horror for Vinegar Syndrome. As you can see behind me, I haven't finished yet. I know I had planned. I got my new saw a couple weeks ago, but of course had my brother passed away back in Ohio, so I took some time off to go back and for that, and now I'm just kind of back home and trying to get things back to normal, getting settled back in. So hopefully I can get it done soon. Got the new little scroll saw. I'm eager to dive in. I already got my couple things picked out that I want to hang out first and share with you all. So definitely check out other videos on my channel. Like and subscribe. Turn your bell notifications on for future videos. And we'll see you again. Geek out.